Imagine driving to work. For 17 years, over half my audience listens to me, not watches me. They listen on radio or a podcast. So if you're driving to work now, imagine driving to work for 17 years knowing you have to carry everybody again today or tonight. Meet LeBron James. He steps off the floor, and that's playing with Anthony Davis, somebody that you keep telling me is the second or third best player in the league. LeBron steps off the floor, and the Laker offense dies. It evaporates. He gives you everything. LeBron can do mid-range. He'll hit a three. He can penetrate. He can distribute. You need a rebound. This year, he decided to lead the league in assists. He is an unbelievable talent, and last night was a flex. The NBA is full of guys who are long and athletic, and they've got one special skill. But the league, everybody in this league except LeBron has a hole in their game. Kawhi Leonard doesn't pass. The Raptors were 17-5 last year when he didn't play. Giannis can't shoot. He's not a great shooter. He's got great length, coachable, energy. Damian Lillard is tiny. He's a defensive liability. James Harden. What about him? Have you watched May the last 4 years? Anthony Davis. I don't even trust him physically. He got hurt again last night. Anthony Davis was in New Orleans for 7 years. He had a playoff win. One series, one time. And it was mostly a series in which the guards were great against Dame and C.J. McCullough. The knock on LeBron has always been this. Well, he comes to your team. And, he just takes the team over. Yeah, that's because he can do everything. That's because he is the greatest Swiss Army knife in the history of the sport. I've been watching basketball since 1972. I remember the year. I remember the game. Portland Trail Blazers, Los Angeles Lakers. Wilt had a headband. Jerry West was there, too. I remember the game. I was on a bunk bed, top bunk. I watched it. CBS, Brett Musburger, play-by-play. Remember the game. There's never been a basketball player like LeBron. Ever. Not Michael. Michael couldn't shoot threes like this. Michael couldn't pass like this. Michael wasn't as strong as this. Michael didn't last like this. Michael didn't make everybody better. Michael Jordan went 8 years between the James Worthy title and the Scottie Pippen emergence without winning a title. Wasn't even getting to finals. In fact, he got beat by North Carolina State. He didn't have the best college team in his own state. Volvano beat him once James Worthy left. Come on. You keep telling me about how good Trae Young can shoot. So, this league's got a bunch of talented guys that can do stuff at a really high level. Damian Lillard, watch him live. Whoa, get a bucket, dude. But he's a defensive liability, can't stop anybody. He's tiny. LeBron James Kawhi Leonard is the second best player in the league, and the Raptors are a number 2 seed without him, and were 17-5 last year when he didn't play. Lakers offense is unwatchable the second LeBron steps off the floor. You all told me Kyrie Irving. Man, remember when this used to be an argument? I'm not joking. This used to be an argument. Hey, what has LeBron done, in Cleveland without Kyrie? Have you watched Kyrie's act since LeBron and him separated? He's hurt again and uncoachable again. And Brooklyn's got a better record when he doesn't play again. And Boston now is way better without him. Y'all kept telling me it was a Kyrie thing. Kyrie's career borders on bust as a number 1 pick if you take the LeBron years out. People were saying before LeBron got there, uncoachable, always hurt, nobody likes him. LeBron left, all that stuff's come back. Nobody likes him, uncoachable, doesn't win, and he's hurt again. As a number 1 pick, Kyrie's career, take LeBron out, he's just gifted like the rest of this league. You can't get to this league without being gifted. You just can't get it. I've gone to events that have had baseball players and hockey players and basketball players, NBA players and NFL players. NBA players just look different. The length, the size. They're just gifted. And they're all great at something. And several are like out of this world at something, like Damian Lillard shooting, Steph Curry shooting. But to watch LeBron last night, he does everything well. Last night, he's an old man. He had 17 fast break points. That's like an old man going up to Usain Bolt and go, "Excuse me, young man, I'm gonna be in lane 3," running past him. He had 17 fast break points. So, and you know what's funny about this? For years and years, you kept telling me about Anthony Davis. Okay, you kept telling me about him, and I like Anthony Davis. I think he's a top 5-6 player in the league. But when you put Anthony Davis and LeBron together on the same team, you guys see the gap, right? Like Anthony Davis, 60th in the NBA in fourth quarter scoring. Last night, Anthony Davis, 6 for 20. Last night, Anthony Davis hurt again. When you put LeBron and AD on the same floor, it is the Grand Canyon of a gap. You can keep hating on this guy and criticizing this guy. I mean, old man flex last night. Good for LeBron. Okay, here's a rule, and I'm going to say it. Who is Nick Saban's best friend in coaching, Joy?
Bill Belichick.
Winners like winners. Winners don't like hanging around losers. Winners don't like hanging around mediocre people. Stars hang out with stars. Winners hang out with winners. And the NBA, more than any league in the world, maybe international soccer is close, is a star-driven league. LeBron stayed in Cleveland for years, and then he went to the Olympics. He was like, I could play with guys like that. And LeBron came back to Cleveland. He's like, I want to go play with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. LeBron for years stayed in Cleveland, and he was loyal, and he didn't leave. And then he started sampling playing with other great players. It's like, damn, you're going from like a steak, like that's a steakhouse, and just getting a steak. You can go to a lot of restaurants and get a steak, but you go to a good steakhouse and get a steak, you're like, that. You stop going to the other restaurants that also have steak on the menu, but they're not steakhouses. So Giannis is a star. We know Milwaukee does not attract free agents. It doesn't. It's like Utah. It's a great NBA franchise, but they don't attract free agents. Here's a rumor, and it's not a bad one, and I believe it to be true. The Warriors acquired Andrew Wiggins for one reason, to get Giannis. Remember, Wiggins makes a lot of money. In order to trade for Giannis, you have to have a huge salary. Wiggins makes a lot of money. They're also going to have the number 1 pick in the draft and Minnesota's pick, which will be a lottery pick. Can Milwaukee do better than Andrew Wiggins and 2 lottery picks? I'll say it again. The key to this league, because this would change the league if he goes to Golden State. It will change the league. You thought Durant and the Warriors were good. Durant gone. Giannis, Steph, Draymond, and Clay. No, thank you. That you might as well just set your clock to those guys in the finals. If Chris Middleton for Milwaukee does what he did last year in the playoffs and shrinks, Giannis is gone. Winners want to hang out with winners. Stars want to hang out with stars. Belichick and Saban. Belichick has to go to college to find a guy he wants to hang out with. Saban's got to go to the pros to find a guy he wants to talk to. Winners hang out with winners. Last year, Chris Middleton, in that series against Toronto, had 1 game over 14 points. We know about the NBA. The refs, Joy and I talk about this, the refs swallow the whistle. The refs don't want to get in the way of the series. And so what happens in the NBA playoffs, guys who are not comfortable in that physical space, they shrink. James Harden shrinks. People play real defense, and the refs swallow the whistle. So James Harden doesn't get the call in the playoffs. He's a great player, but he's not as dominant in the playoffs. Paul George is a very talented player. Doesn't always like the physicality of it. Paul George shrinks in the playoffs. Now, Kawhi can be physical. LeBron can be physical. D. Wade, physical. Paul Pierce could be physical. The late Kobe could be physical. Shaq could be physical. Those guys don't shrink in the playoffs. The NBA playoffs, refs swallow whistles. It's a players and a stars league. Young guys shrink, and guys that don't like physicality shrink. Chris Middleton shrinks. Remember last year against Toronto? Milwaukee up 2-0, series over, game 3 win, series over. Chris Middleton was 3 for 16. Evaporated. Folks, that happens again. Giannis is out. Stars hang with stars. Winners hang with winners. He's not sticking around in Milwaukee with Chris Middleton, who's a nice kid and a 20-a-night regular season player. But you get to the postseason. Boston plays defense and gets physical. Toronto plays defense and gets physical. Okay, Philadelphia's got size and can be physical. Get ready for it, Milwaukee. This rumor, Golden State can offer perhaps the number 1 pick, another lottery pick, and Andrew Wiggins' salary matches up. And right now, never forget this. This is why, and this will change the league. Giannis will go from Chris Middleton's my number 2 to Steph is my number 2, Clay is my number 3, and Draymond is my number 4. That is a 5-year dynasty. That is, you don't want any part of that. That would go down as potentially, that would rival Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen's Bulls. That one you'd be like, okay, they shoot better than the Bulls, they're better inside than the Bulls, and they got a great coach. That would be an all-time team. And Giannis knows it. And don't kid yourself. The timing is perfect. Think about this. LeBron has left the East. This is why Milwaukee has to win now. They have to win the East. LeBron left the East. Kawhi left the East. The Sixers are gifted but dysfunctional. KD this year is hurt. This is the year. Middleton shrinks. Giannis would be out of his mind not to sign an extension. He'd be out of his mind. He's a smart kid. And by the way, he's done everything you've asked of him in Milwaukee. Don't blame him. He's done everything. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he just signs an extension tomorrow to put these things to rest. But Milwaukee does not attract free agents. And if I can go from Chris Middleton's my 2 to Steph, and then Clay and Draymond, I'm going 74 and 8. What's 74 plus 8 is 60, 82. Yes, that's my record. So I think this story is real. I think the window is now. If Milwaukee cannot win the East with KD out, LeBron, Kawhi out, Sixers talented but dysfunctional, you can't win it this year. It's not getting easier. All those good Celtic players, Jason Tatum's 21. You got Jaylen Brown. They're all getting better. Jason Tatum has made a huge leap this year from year 1 to year 2. I mean, he is a top 7 player in the league. That kid can put it on the deck. He can shoot. He can score. He can drive. Jason Tatum now, he's not getting worse. He is going to be a star for a decade. Jaylen Brown now. Kyrie's gone, giving you 20. These young Celtics are only getting better. And they draft like you know what. So and they have picks. I am so fired up today.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.